If you just got married or maybe you're planning to get married, perhaps you're asking yourself this question: should I and my spouse keep the money on the joint account or should we consider separate accounts? Look, this is definitely a great question and there is no single solution for every single couple. However, since me and my wife have separate accounts and joint accounts too, I want to share with you a couple of thoughts on this subject. Now, before I share with you how we actually keep our finances, let me just mention a couple of pros and cons of joint accounts and separate accounts too. So let's start from the joint accounts, and there is definitely good benefits of it. By having a joint account or accounts maybe, it will be definitely easier for the couples to manage the expenses, pay the bills, and of course plan the financial future. And that's because if both partners have the same vision for the future and same goals, it makes it definitely easier. Obviously with joint account, both partners can monitor the account at any time they want to, and that can actually lead to more responsible spending, because think about it, since your spouse have the access to the account too, perhaps when you or your spouse decide to spend some money next time, you will take to the account that your partner is watching the account too, so you may actually refrain from spending the money, basically staying more on track. And with the joint account, usually the financial communication is better, which obviously could be a positive thing when it comes to married couple. Now, with that being said, there is definitely some downsides of joint accounts too. One of the downsides would be less financial movement or less financial freedom, if you will. So for example, if one person decides to spend some little extra money, it can very easily lead to conflict. And another, at least potential downside, is that if for some reason you would come to separation or divorce in the marriage, then dividing the financial assets would be definitely more complicated. Now, as far as the separate accounts go, they will definitely allow more control over personal finances. Obviously, they can provide more privacy for each partner and pretty much enable each person in the relationship to save or spend money at their will, pretty much without needing approval from your partner. So basically, keeping accounts separate could be good for people who have different spending and saving habits or even different financial strategy. And in case of divorce or separation, because the accounts are separate in this situation, then dividing the assets should be pretty easy. Obviously, no one really wants to get divorced, but it's still good to know. Also, keep in mind that in some states, after a few years of marriage, it doesn't really matter if your accounts are separate or together, because if you get divorced, everything is pretty much split 50-50. Now, there is obviously some downsides to the separate accounts too, one of which is lack of transparency and communication about the finances, and that can create misunderstandings and also inequality in financial contributions. Now, personally, I think the biggest downside of the separate accounts is the actual management of shared expenses, because think about it, how do you do it fairly? Should the bill payments and the expenses be proportionate to your income? Obviously in your spouse's income by percentage rate? Well, maybe, but then again, what if the other partner contributes more work to the household, maybe taking care of the children more, gardening, backyard work, maybe you clean the house more, and etc. In my own experience, this can really become complicated very quickly. So with all that being said, let me tell you our own financial situation and why we keep the accounts the way we do with my wife, because I think for most couples, this is the way to go. So me and my wife, we have one joint checking account, and this is the account where every revenue is going, whether from my wife's salary or basically my revenue. And then we also have joint high-yield savings account. That's where we keep majority of our savings. However, me and my wife, we also have two separate accounts. So my wife has her own account for little extra savings, or maybe if she wants to buy something, and same with me. And on those separate accounts, we keep very small amount of money. We basically have some weekly allowance and we deposit the money there. But the most money, of course, is still deposited to the checking account and then to the high savings account. Like I've mentioned before, those accounts are joint. And the reason why I think it works so great is because number one, everything is transparent. So whether me and my wife can check the account at any time, basically that helps to keep us on track. We also pretty much share the same financial goals together, and we both trying to be responsible because we know we shouldn't spend extra money. And that's why I think for most couples this works better, especially if you want to save the money faster and build wealth. Obviously that will only work good if both partners have the same financial vision. I also know that there was some studies done before, and these studies determined that couples that have joint accounts pretty much build the wealth faster. I cannot find this study right now that I'm making this video, But that was basically the conclusion of this study, and we had separate accounts before with my wife, and it was a lot of mess because there was a lot of miscommunication and arguments about the finances. It was almost like we pulling the financial wagon different direction, so that's why I think the conclusion of this study makes total sense. Now obviously if you have a partner, one of you is gonna be stronger in finances, meaning there is gonna be one person in the marriage who is better in financial planning and better in saving money, paying the bills and etc. And obviously that person should be responsible for paying the bills, switching the money to the savings account and etc. And perhaps that person should be responsible for investing too, if you are already at that level. But I think the most important thing is always communicate with your partner. It doesn't matter if you just want to spend $50 extra or 80 or 500 for that matter. Obviously, it depends on your situation, but with proper communication about the finances, not only you can improve your finances, but your marriage and trust in each other can improve too, and obviously that's what you want. Now, if you're starting to save some money, consider high-yield savings account and check this video. This is my experience with Capital One, and as always, thank you for watching.